Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhavatapa Pranashine, Ananda Ghanamurtaye, Jnana Bhakti Pradayine, Matastubhyam, Namo Namaha. Jai Ma. Today, I thought I'll talk about Ma. You know, she was a taskmaster. I mean, you couldn't get away with anything. You know, she was very compassionate, very everything. But when it came to teaching you, she was a taskmaster. So, one incident I remember, I was a child, you know, I mean, she never asked me to do any kind of work. So there was this, I think there was a function in Pune Ashram or something. And Pune Ashram hall is very, very big. So she had asked two boys, Kailash and one other Jogin, who's in charge of Uttar Kashi Ashram today. So we were all, as little children, we were all friends, you know. And I was younger than all of them. So she instructed Kailash and Jogin. She told them that there is a big function tomorrow in the ashram, and I want you to lay daris in the hall. You know, carpets, huge carpets, you know, that these little boys also could not carry, but they were struggling with it. It was that big and that heavy. So there were so many carpets because the hall is very, very big. So she said you lay all the carpets in such a way that there is no gap in between. She was very meticulous. So there should not be any gap anywhere and it should be laid properly. So the boys looked at each other and I was there in the hall. So I was very pretty sitting with my little frock, which Kailash till today teases me. He says, you were always sitting like a little princess on that chair and you never gave us a helping hand. I said, if Ma didn't ask me to work, why should I? I was sitting and watching you people. So I was sitting on that chair and the boys started working in the morning. They started. So by the time it was very, very heavy, the carpets, you know. So they had to lay everything properly like how Ma had said. And by the time they finished, it was evening and they were sweating away and they were so deadbeat. They were so tired. So once they finished, they were very happy that they had done the job well. And they went to Ma and said, Ma ho gaya. So Ma comes to inspect. And she looks at, you know, all the carpets and everything and she says, nahi, nahi. ये ठीक नहीं है, वो ठीक नहीं है, ये कोना उसके साथ मैच नहीं करता, ये कारपेट थोड़ा टेढ़ा है, there is a little more gap, the carpets don't match each other, the ends are not done properly, this is like this and this is like that, she went on. And the boys were just looking at each other, wondering what to do. So they said, Ma, तो बोले, कुछ नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, Ma said, ऐसा करो, सब हटा लो, और वापस सब बिछा लो the way I have asked you to do it. So they were stumped. They looked at each other and they said, माँ, हमको तो पूरा दिन लग गया, कल सुबह फंक्शन है, so हमको तो पूरा दिन लग गया ये लगाने को, तो अभी how do I do it again? माँ से don't worry, कोई बात नहीं, पूरी रात पड़ी है ना, निकालो सब कुछ और रात भर करो, सुबह तक हो जाएगा, कोई बात नहीं, it's okay. Ma says, and she walked off. Now the boys were huffing and puffing, and then they had to pick up all the carpets again, and whole night they were sitting and laying the carpets the way Ma had said, precise it has to be. Ma was a taskmaster, she would not tolerate anything, you know, and this is how she taught us everything. Ma was the one who taught us how to make Brahma Khichdi, which is so popular in our ashram. You know how Ma used to cook? You know, she used to do cooking. Her hand was like unbelievable. She would stand at like a 3 feet distance from the chula, from the gas, the stove, where the utensil was. And from here, from 3 feet away, she would just throw all the masalas, you know, whether it was mustard seeds or zira, ya hing hai. Hing to nahi use karte the ashram mein. So zira, rye, whatever, then all the vegetables, she would just throw like this, prong, and it would drop straight in the utensil. And the way the food turned out was unbelievable. So she taught us how to make the Brahma Khichdi. which is very delicious, We learnt all that from her. Now there is a very funny incident about this friend of mine in Pune. I mean, right from young age he was devoted to Ma. His parents were also devoted to Ma. And he was given the duty, he was in charge of, whenever Ma was in the ashram, it was Pune ashram, whenever Ma was in the ashram, he was in charge of distributing the prasad to people after the aarti was over. So he had this big thal and he had to give all the prasad to whoever had come in the hall. And he had to sit near Ma's chauki. Ma would be on that bed and he would have to sit over there next to Ma. And once it was over, he would pick up the thal and then go and distribute. This was his duty whenever Ma came. So now he wasn't aware that on this particular day Ma was coming. He wasn't aware of that. And right from young age, he was like a very romantic guy. So he had a date that day with some girl, okay? So they had decided to meet in some restaurant or something like that. And the time was exactly the aarti time in the evening. Now he was wondering what he should do because Ma was arriving and he suddenly got to know that day that Ma was coming and his duty was to distribute prasad and sit next to Ma. He said, oh God, I'm stuck. Now what do I do? And he didn't want to cancel that appointment with the girl. So what he did is, he told one of his friends, a devotee friend, that will you take this charge, will you do my duty today, sit over there, and when the aarti is over, you just distribute the prasad and I'll go and come back, So the boy said, yes, of course I'll do it, is that. So what Kailash did is, his name is Kailash, Ma arrived, she sat on the chauki and he quietly went and sat at the end of the hall near a door. He was leaning on the door and sitting right over there so that if he slipped out of there, nobody would notice that Kailash is gone. So he sat over there quietly. And there were so many people in the hall. Obviously when Ma is there, there's so many people. So he said in this crowd, nobody will notice, where I was. And when the time came for him to leave, he slowly slipped out of that door because he was sitting right next to the door. Okay, he goes. He reaches that place where he had this appointment with the girl. And he waits and waits and waits and waits. And the girl didn't arrive. She didn't turn up. So he said, oh God, the girl didn't come here. So let me go back and do my, I distribute the prasad now because the girl hasn't come. So he was very disappointed and he came back. And quietly he slipped through that same door and sat near the door and thinking that nobody has noticed anything, So he said, it's fine. Now the aarti got over and then the girls came to take Ma to her room. So it was always like Ma's chauki is here and there is a door next to it. So they would, take her and go to her kutia, which was behind. So take her over there, So it was a straight exit entry from there only. So they took her, they came to take her, but she got up on her own. And now where Kailash was sitting near that door, it is a long hall. So she went right up to, she walked straight up to Kailash. And the moment he saw Ma coming, he was going like this. He went down, his head went down because he didn't want to face her. And he was still looking down. Ma approached him, stood in front of him. Ma bent down and did like this to Kailash. He was trying to hide things from Ma and Ma does this. The girl didn't turn up. And we all laughed. Kailash also laughs till today that, Ma, I was trying to hide something from Ma. She knows everything. It's not like she doesn't know. So that was a hilarious story, okay, that we have experienced with Ma. Then I'm reading in the points, because I've written down. There are lots of stories like this. There is one very long story of Nirgunanandji, which is unbelievable. See, I have recorded Nirgunanji about 6 hours of recording I have done, his interview. But at the moment, I cannot post it, because he has refused. He says, you will not post my videos, But it's a very interesting sessions we used to have. I was in Almora at that time, taking his interview, And every day we used to sit in the evening, and I think in the morning also for half an hour or 45 minutes we used to sit in the morning, and evening also we used to sit for about 45 minutes. And he would talk. So I have about, I think, 5 or 6 DVDs. I don't remember, because this was 2001, I think, that I had gone there. And there's an interesting thing that had happened once when I was, about what happened with Nirgunananji when he met Ma. That I will cover in the next video when I'm talking, because it's quite long. So I remember once we were doing satsang downstairs, because there is a courtyard like an angan. And Swami Bhaskaranji was in his room, which is on the first floor. So he could see from the window what was happening over there. And I was interviewing Swami Nirgunananji. So apparently there was a phone call from my house. My parents were on the phone with Swami Bhaskaranji. And they told my parents that, we want to speak to Neeta, where is she? So Swamiji said, she is in the satsang and she will not come just now. She will not get up from satsang. So we can chat. So they were chatting with Swamiji, okay? Now whatever their conversation was, that I am not aware of. But after the satsang got over and I finished that interview for the day, I went to do pranam to Swami Bhaskaranji. And when I entered his room, he says, your parents had called up. I said, oh really? What were they saying? So he didn't repeat the conversation, the entire conversation, but he told me one thing. He said, your parents were telling me that look at her transformation. She has turned 180 degrees, So I said, wow, my parents said that to you? He said, yes, they did, but I'm not happy. I said, you are not happy? Means what? He said, I want a 360 degree turn. I don't want 180. I'm not satisfied with that. I said, that Swamiji is not in my hands. I said, you put your hand on my head, it will happen. He said, what will happen with my hand on your head? Nothing will happen. I said, of course it will happen. That's what you think. And I said, for Ma, what is difficult for Ma? Ma ek phuk maregi aur mera 360 ho gaya. To bole, can you say that? I said, of course I can say that, If Ma does, if Ma wishes and wills, what is it that is not possible with Ma? Everything is possible. So she just has to blow on me and I'll be 360 degrees and you'll be happy. So if you want me to be happy, you put your hand on my head first and then tell Ma to just blow on me and I'll be fine. So we used to joke like this, we used to talk like this, and it was great fun with Swamiji, So I said, this is wonderful. And Nirgunanji's story is amazing. I call him a rebel sadhu. He's made me his sister and I'm, he's my brother kind of relationship we have. So we can say anything to each other. And his take on everything is very different. And he was a scientist, basically, you see. And from there, he met Ma in 1979. That's how he came to Ma. And he was with Ma for 3 years. But those 3 years were unbelievable for him. So I think I will cover that in the next video. Again, like I said, if it becomes too long, the video, it is very difficult for me to upload. It takes a lot of time. And that's why I like to make them shorter, so that quickly I can have more videos. And what I do is I kind of record everything prior. So, whatever I give you is like in stock with me. So I have recorded quite a few videos. So if people have any questions, maybe it will come after that, It won't come immediately the next time because it is in storage. I already have about 10 videos, I think, in storage. And I'm planning to put all the interviews in my, that I have taken of the ascetics on Ma. I'm trying to upload them on a different playlist on my channel. And I can probably give you little stories of how these interviews came about and what really happened in those interviews. It's very interesting. So, and then I can attach the video so you have a little background of what is happening, of how this particular interview was taken. And these interviews are already there in one of the channels. but I would like to bring them here and I'm trying to do that. I don't know whether I'll be successful. माँ की मर्जी होगी तो हो जाएगा, वरना नहीं होगा. So देखेंगे जो भी होता है, पर आज के लिए इतना ही. So जय माँ. ओम भवताप प्रणाशिने आनंद घनमूर्तये ज्ञान भक्ति प्रदायिने मातस्तुभ्यं नमो नमः. जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ.